Hi everyone, this is Diane. I'm continuing some work on this Seaside journal that I'm making with one of those recyclable Amazon mailers. The craft envelopes with the foam dots inside for padding instead of bubbles. It is really nice. So I think on the other video that I did, I showed painting it. And I don't think I had Mod Podged this on because I had to let this dry overnight. I wanted to make sure it was really good and dry. So I obviously did Mod Podge this gorgeous vintage Good Housekeeping illustration on there, and then I zigzag stitched around it. I'll probably add some sort of embellishment, I don't know what yet. And on the inside, I had some fun. I had folded up the bottom of the envelope because it was one of the bigger ones, and I sewed it. And I added this pretty blue lace, this turquoise lace that really matches it really nicely, and it kind of looks like jellyfish. And it's really fun, so I just glued that to it. Nope, I sewed it on before I sewed the pocket shut. And up here, there were some darker splotches from this color that, you know, when I flipped it over and was painting this side, of course some of the color got onto this. So I just added this image from Mrs. Cog to cover up, and also where some of the paint came off because it wasn't quite dry when I flipped it over. So I thought she was really fun, and then I added a sticker and added on some spangles. I sewed them on. And I just made a tag to put in there. And I'll have to do something here where some of the paint got on there. And so I'm not quite done with the cover, but I really, really like the way this feels, so I really want to make more journals with these envelopes and with paint and Mod Podge because I love the way that feels. So we're going to do some work on the pages today, though. I'll do a detailed flip when I'm done with the journal. So I'm just kind of flipping through to see what needs some work. I think the first half is pretty much done. This was an 8x8 sheet of paper. So all I did was fold it in half and notch the corners, or round the corners, and added some stickers. It's a nice journaling spot. Did the same with that one. This is Italian not straw paper, but this came with a packet of Italian paper that I got from I wanted to say Roxy. You know, Roxy Creations. I know her name, but I don't know it right at this very minute. Anyway, it was a folder, which was pretty cool. So all I had to do was cut it height-wise to fit, and then I could leave this the way it was, and it opens up like this, which is pretty awesome. And there is another piece from that collection that I got from her in here. You can see I had to build the pages out again because this book was a big one. But again, we'll talk about that more. I did add a tab with an eyelet and a nautilus shell charm. This is where I left off. I just dropped a seashell. Here it is. So this is what we're going to work on. This is the center page of the signature. I will set this aside to keep it safe because I'm going to use some inks, some sprays. So this is the other folder piece that was part of the collection from Rachel. That's her name. It's a yellow folder, and it's a very deep pocket, and I think I had to cut it widthwise. Maybe it came this way. I don't remember, but obviously I'm going to have to close that. And I thought I could cut that down shorter, but I'm going to leave it just the way it came. I think this came from Rachel. I don't know now. I got that bundle a while ago. So I want to add this piece of paper to the back, and I had another one cut to the other side. And we're going to work on this tag to go in the deep pocket. I'm going to ink around the edges of this. I went to my family reunion yesterday on my dad's side. We get fewer and fewer people there every year. I remember it is called the Kingsley Reunion. My grandmother and her two sisters, and she had two brothers too, but I don't ever remember meeting the brothers. One of them died young, and the other one just wasn't around. But their families, of course, were invited. They didn't show up much, if at all. But anyway, it was my grandmother and her two sisters mainly, and then their descendants. And so I remember my aunts, my great aunts. Some, you know, they were older, and I didn't pay that much attention to them. Except I loved seeing my grandmother sit with her sisters and talk and laugh. The eldest had a shriek for a laugh, and I can still hear it, and we all just loved it. And now when I sit and talk and laugh with my sisters, one day it just struck me, we don't shriek, but we do laugh pretty good, and it just struck me, and I said, look at us, we are Grandma and Harriet and Bub. Bub's name was Bertha, but I always knew her as Bub, Aunt Bub. And that's what we are. We just sit and we talk and we talk and we laugh and we love each other, and it's great having sisters. I feel bad that my daughter doesn't have a sister, but she has a brother and they get along great too, so there's that. I have two brothers too, I just don't see them very much, and they didn't come yesterday. So anyway, my dad lives near me, of course, just a few minutes away from me, and he decided he would go. He wasn't going to, but he decided that he should go, and he would be glad that he went, and he was glad that he went. So I rode with him. He's 86 and still driving and gets himself around real good. And he likes driving on those back roads. It was at Mount Pisgah State Park in Troy, Pennsylvania. It was a nice location, and the weather was beautiful. And okay, so I did all that talking while I did all that inking. I hope that kept you entertained. Now, I'm not gonna sew that. I've been doing quite a bit of sewing, but since I'm on camera right now, I won't do sewing. I could go back and stitch it if I wanted to have the stitches on there, because I probably will use stitching to close the pockets. This is just cut from scrapbook paper. So my two sisters went to the reunion. My mom didn't. She's 86 also, and she just hasn't been feeling great. She'll have a good part of a day, but usually not a full day. She gets vertigo, which makes her feel nauseous, tired. She's just tired, and they've both been so good for so long. They haven't had major health issues. So we all count ourselves fortunate in that. But anyway, she stayed home with the dog. My dad went, my cousin and his wife, and another cousin's son and his family, but none of the other cousins came, just my sisters and my one cousin Joel. And one son of the youngest sister, Bub, was there. And that's it. Well, with his wife and his son. I think that's it. So it's a small gathering, but it was more than I expected. I didn't know that the young guy was going to be there with his wife and kids, my cousin's son. So that was nice. Oh, and my niece and her fiance came with their dog. I know you didn't ask for the roster of people, but I was prepared to tell my cousin, who he and his wife are the ones who make sure that this gets scheduled and reserved. They reserve the pavilion. I was all prepared to just tell him, let's not even do it next year, because, you know, it costs money to reserve the pavilion, and people just don't come. The young people don't come. And then more people came than the last couple of years, so yeah, so I guess we'll keep doing it. It's just sad that so many of the people I remember at these reunions, because I've been going to this reunion at Mount Pisgah my whole life, and it's just sad that so many of them aren't here anymore. Most of the ones I remember aren't here anymore. And I am grateful that my dad was around to come. I remember thinking, I didn't really like going to the reunions. I mean, it's not my favorite thing to do on a Saturday, but once I'm there, I enjoy it. But when my grandmother was getting up there in years, well, she wasn't getting up there in years, she was there. And I kept thinking, well, I need to go because this could be Grandma's last one. And she lived to be 100. She died shortly after her 100th birthday. So I used some blue ink. I think it's Blueberry Bushel from Stampin' Up, to stamp a little design where there was some space. This is a 6x6 pad, paper pad ledger. So I could have added paper to the top of it, made it bigger, but I decided to just stamp a design up there. And I'm going to do a little collage down here. I've got these two images from Mrs. Cog. Since this is from a magazine, I thought it was appropriate to use Mrs. Cog's, I don't remember the name of it, of her kit here, but it's magazine covers that feature ocean and beach scenes. I don't think that's the one I had there. I displaced a seashell. I had one already cut out, and it wasn't this long, thin one. It was a rounder one. So I spent some time this morning. I'm having a relaxing Sunday morning. Well, it's afternoon now. I had a relaxing Sunday morning cutting out seashells while I watched YouTube videos. Okay, let's glue the background down. Oh, I already did. I already did that. I have another of Mrs. Cog's sets. Also, I think that one is called Ocean and Seaside. And there were some of her other sets that I already had that had some images that would work. So I printed just that page out of the set. Like there were children's magazine covers, and some of them were at the ocean. I think I'm going to add a little bit of cheesecloth. Couldn't remember the name of it. How did I have this? Like that. I'm going to glue that down and then we'll figure out the rest. Maybe with the cheesecloth I won't feel like I need all of those seashells. I'll put a little cheesecloth down here also. I got something out. I was going through something. I don't remember now what it was, but just last night I think. And I found this in there. So there was one of the caps and pins that I had lost. I don't remember what it was, so I don't know how long it's been missing, but you know, sometimes you lose something for a long time and it turns up in the most unexpected places. It just got picked up and put in with whatever that was. I should have glued the other one first. My thought with putting this grid page on there was to give you journaling space, but I guess I canceled that out because I can't leave anything unembellished. Maybe this was the missing seashell. don't think I want that one. Keep sticking to the glue on my thumb. Yeah, I think that's good. These all came out of books about seashells. These are all illustrated ones. I had another book that was beautiful photographs. They did them on a black background, but they're photographs. But they're so nice. Like that. It's hard to tell though that it's a photograph and not a. That's an illustration. This one's a photograph. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing on this yet, but I do have a tag I need to prepare to put in here. It's right here. So I wet this. I just sprayed it down with water on both sides and then embossed it because it's thick, and this is a deep embossing folder. And I had heard that wetting your cardstock, if you're using the deep embossing folders, helps. And it did. It embossed it very nicely without cracking it. So I liked how it felt when it was wet. As far as I'm thinking that I want to wet it again so I can spray it with inks and see how the ink moves on it. So that's what we're going to do right now. Oops, I got my splat box here. And I have an assortment of sprays to try. But first, water. I don't think I need to do the back, but I guess I'm doing it anyway, because I don't think I will be spraying the back. Oh dear. So the ink that is on here is seeping onto that. I don't know what you're supposed to do about that when you use a splat box. Line it with paper, I guess. This is acrylic paint, so that won't run. Okay, now I have Mermaid Lagoon, which I thought would be nice. I'm glad that's a green color that leaked onto that because I don't mind the greens. Oh, that's pretty bright. Put some water on that to dilute it some. And I think I'll add some faded jeans to it. And a little bit of cracked pistachio. And maybe it needs, I didn't bring an orange or a yellow or a pink with me. Oh, look how nice that is. As it's, I guess, absorbing or blending, it's allowing the embossing to show up. This is getting ink on the back, which is fine. I expected that. I see I didn't get that corner covered very well. So I think I'm going to dry this and then maybe add maybe a little touch of coral color, but I don't want to do it while the ink is wet, I don't think. So I'm going to dry this, I'm sorry. I think that's dry enough. I think what I'll do is kind of just splatter some of a reddish color on there instead of spraying. Well, I think I need to get some some red dye or spray. This is Tattered Angels pink, and this is, I don't know, one I made. Oh, perfect. That looks like a coral color. So I'm going to put a little of this in a little cup. And use my splatter brush. And it's sparkly. I put some shimmer in this one. Whoa, I got some on my shirt. So I'm just going to dip my splatter brush. I think this was, yeah, this is a Tim Holtz one. I got it on when they had all their Tim Holtz stuff on sale at Hobby Lobby. I just want to check this out before I put it on there. Oh, that's bigger dots. So I'll splat some off, and then I'll splat some on. And it's still damp, so it's seeping in, which is great. Oh, look how much it's spreading. But it makes it a lot more subtle, I think, than if I sprayed it. I really like that. And that is probably enough. And I will see if I can pour this back in. And you can slightly see, you can see some of the shimmer in that pink and that orange color. Get all of these off my table. I brought over more than I needed because I didn't know what I wanted to try. Okay, now I think once this is dry, because it might be a little fragile around the edges because it's still damp, but I think I will edge it with some of the orange color. I just think now that that orange it's turning pink now and spreading out, I think I'm going to want to put a little bit of Vintage Photo on it. Yeah, I think I like this better. See how floppy that is because it's wet? It'll dry. When it's dry, I could add a couple of my cutout seashells. I love this one. I don't want to cover up too much of that folder. So now I guess I just need to put some seam binding in there. Oh, these would be perfect. How about this one? These are vintage seam bindings that I got at the flea market a couple of years ago. And all of that moisture is making the reinforcement come off. I'll have to glue that back on. But I'll wait till it's dry. And it will go in here. This is called Salty Ocean. I need to get some more of these brushes. I always want the larger size ones. Not every time, but they're the ones I go for. It would be nice to have more of the large ones. I think this one was used in the vintage photo, so we're good. Having it being damp, I think, is making the color a little more intense, which I don't mind. You can see the line of demarcation where my folder, my embossing folder, went this far, and then I had to continue it. I'm going to let that dry, and I don't know what to do on the inside. I like to give you some nice journaling space in there. Got this drawer full of paper that can be journaled on, lined paper, and that would be nice in there. I think I'll just patch a bunch of papers together to give you journaling space in here. See what we got. I think I'm going to throw away the battery that is in there right now, because I've been recording for 35 minutes and that battery was new, was fresh, not new, but it's freshly recharged and it's flashing already. And I know one of them has been flashing, warning me before it should. So I think that battery is past its prime. I don't want to replace it though, because I might get myself a new camera soon. They're awfully expensive though. Oops, tore that one. Thought I had a nice piece that would work perfectly, and I tore it trying to pull it out of the drawer, because these lines are horizontal. It's a long piece that has horizontal lines, so I think that would work. Well, I will glue the backgrounds on and then worry about decorating them. So you can see where I'm going with this if you don't get to finish watching. There's so many marks on this paper, I can't see my pencil mark. I just wanted to put the dark stuff at the bottom. This is the center of the signature. Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll glue this down, and then I will add some embellishments, maybe the seashells that I cut out, or I don't know if I need to do some more stamped and embossed elements that I did in the other journal. I'd rather just use what I have here. So that's probably what we'll do. So I'll do that, and then I'll have to figure out what to do here. But that's it for today. I will continue working on the inside at least. And I'll just let this dry for a few hours and then come back and embellish that. So this may be the last, what do you call it? The one where I'm working on the journal process. This may be the last process video for this journal, I don't know. Hopefully the next time you see this journal it will be complete and in my shop. I do thank you for hanging out with me today, and I hope you're having a creative day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!